The man limped over to the beggar, tossed a life-saving coin into his cup, then curled up next to him and fell asleep. The beggar paused for a moment, looked carefully at the coin, then without hesitation, he got up, pulled down a tarp to cover the man, and went right back to his original begging position. Shortly after, soon, two assassin-looking men hurried over.
Put it in everything. Hey man, you gotta
The beggar had already dragged their lifeless bodies away. In this place, assassins like him, masters of disguise, were everywhere. Some might look like harmless musicians. Others might seem like blind people you'd never pay attention to. But with the help of special tools, they could track their targets by sound alone, making them deadly killers. All the assassins here took orders from a group called the High Table. Except for the beggars, all the other assassins took orders from an organization called the High Table. That day, all the assassins received the same kill order. Anyone who can kill the top assassin John Wick will receive a $7 million bounty. The news spread fast, and assassins from around the world began to converge. As soon as John stepped out of the hotel, he was already being watched. A sumo wrestler hit him hard with a crushing blow, knocking him to the ground. John quickly got back on his feet, dodging bullets as he disarmed the wrestler. He delivered a series of kicks, but the guy was too thick-skinned. With one heavy slap, he sent John flying. John grabbed a gun and shot him 3 times in the gut, then a couple more in the head. The sumo wrestler dropped, but before John could catch his breath, a violin-playing assassin showed up. She pulled out a gun, firing at John. Luckily, his bulletproof suit saved him. John closed the distance, but during the struggle, she managed to shoot him multiple times, piercing his bulletproof vest. John managed to kill her, but not without getting seriously hurt himself. He knew he needed to escape, but a new assassin was already on his tail. In desperation, John grabbed a pencil and stabbed the assassin in the chest, recreating his iconic pencil kill move. He decided to make a run for the subway, but just as he reached the square, his sixth sense kicked in. He knew something was off, but with no better option, he had to take the risk. As the fountain's water sprayed, both sides realized they'd found each other. John made a run for it, barely reaching the subway platform, but just as he was about to board the train, 2 more assassins appeared. John reacted quickly, disarming one and slashing him across the neck, then turned and stabbed him in the chest. After finishing him off, John looked up and saw the bald bodyguard, who had been chasing him, standing across from him, watching in silence. The next train arrived. They both stepped inside, and to avoid hurting innocent people, they chose to fight with knives. But the fight had barely started when John got stabbed in the thigh. The pain forced him to push the bodyguard back, and he used a powerful throw to create some distance. John launched his attack, but the bodyguard grabbed him, knocking his weapon away. John took advantage of a small opening, trapping the bodyguard's right arm, then unleashed a series of brutal punches. Each hit cracked the bodyguard's ribs. With the bodyguard off balance, John threw him again, this time slamming him to the ground. After 2 hard falls, the bodyguard had no strength left to resist. John grabbed a knife, plunged it into the bodyguard's chest, and then followed up with a punch to fully drive it in. But John held back. As long as the knife stayed in, the bodyguard wouldn't die. After fighting through so many life or death battles, John was completely worn out. John's only hope lay in the beggar before him. As the beggar wondered how John knew his true identity, John collapsed beside him. The beggar glanced at the coin in his cup, then without hesitation, he quickly hid John under the tarp. When 2 more assassins arrived to ask questions, the beggar pulled out his weapon and killed them on the spot. It turns out the beggar's organization belongs to another gang, one that didn't interfere with the High Table's business, and the slayers don't interfere with each other. After an unknown amount of time, they arrived at a crematorium. At this point, John also came along, with his wounds already bandaged. He met Morpheus, the leader of the Beggars Association, hoping to get his help. But Morpheus knew that helping John would mean becoming an enemy of the entire assassin organization, and he didn't want to get involved in this mess. John told him that if Anthony became the gang leader, he would target the Beggars Association, and that he, John, planned to kill Anthony himself. When that happened, Morpheus could take over the gang's territory.
You want a war? Or do you want to just give me a gun?
Somebody please get this man a gun.
However, Morpheus only gave John 7 bullets, symbolic of John's $1 million bounty. Still, he told John the route to sneak in through the sewers. Under the cover of the party crowd, John managed to find his revenge target Anthony. John's appearance clearly caught Anthony off guard. The crowd, sensing the danger, immediately scattered. John attacked quickly, but Anthony's bodyguards blocked him. He ran out of bullets fast, so John flipped one of the approaching guards, took his weapon, and quickly took down 2 security guards. To make sure the rest of the fight went smoothly, he counted his bullets in advance. But as he entered the corridor, a new security guard intercepted him. With his bulletproof suit providing cover, he managed to kill the guard, grabbed his weapon, and kept up the pursuit. Meanwhile, Anthony was coordinating more security as he fled. planning to ambush John wherever possible. He called in his hitmen, ordering them to meet at a designated location. While Anthony and 2 of his men rushed to their target point, John was already in hot pursuit, unleashing a killing spree. With pinpoint accuracy, he took down each guard as soon as they appeared. When John ran out of bullets, he quickly took cover, grabbed another weapon from an enemy, and launched a surprise attack, taking them out with a single shot. Using the Mozambique drill, 2 shots to the body, 1 to the head. He left his opponents with no chance to fight back. John swapped magazines with precision, checking that the bullet was loaded with a single hand. Moving with a skill that almost hurt to watch, he quickly tracked Anthony to the mirrored room he had set up for the showdown. Mirrors surrounded him, easily distorting his vision. Anthony lured John closer with his voice, while sending his men to ambush him through a hidden door. But John was ready, dodging the ambush and quickly taking out 2 bodyguards. Hearing his men's screams, Anthony panicked. He spotted John, but didn't have the courage to fight, giving John an opening to strike. With his bullets now completely spent, John could only watch as Anthony escaped. From the sound of footsteps, John knew new enemies were on the way. Anthony's personal guards had just arrived, assigned to take down John, while the mute female guard escorted Anthony to the elevator. She stayed behind to defend the final checkpoint. With no bullets left, John hid in a corner, waiting for the right moment. He struck one guard's head with his pistol, disarmed him, pressed him against the wall, and quickly drew his weapon, firing 2 shots to the body and 1 to the head. Pinned down by submachine gunfire, John again hid in a corner, waiting for an opening. He used the mirror to deliberately expose himself, determined the enemy's location from the reflection, and killed him instantly. John then continued after Anthony, but suddenly stopped. He'd heard footsteps. He smashed through a mirror, launching a sneak attack, and strangling his opponent to the ground. As more enemies appeared from upstairs, John used his opponent as a shield to block the attacks, pulled out the enemy's weapon, and fired 2 shots to the body and 1 to the head. After eliminating his shield, John quickly rushed toward the elevator entrance, but the mute guard was already waiting for him inside. Her surprise attack forced John to retreat. She stabbed him repeatedly with her knife, but he finally found a chance to counter when he backed into a corner. Using his height and strength to his advantage, John grabbed her and slammed her against the wall, kicked her in a vital spot, pinned her arm, broke it, and drove her own weapon deep into her chest. When she was completely defenseless, John scavenged her for weapons and ammo, then continued his hunt for Anthony. To save himself, Anthony fled to the Continental Hotel, and immediately sought protection from Winston, the hotel manager. Since the Continental had a strict no-kill policy, Anthony felt emboldened, enjoying his last supper without fear of being harmed.
Jonathan, just walk away.
Yeah, Jonathan. Walk away.
What have you done?
Having completed his revenge, John left the hotel, returning to his dilapidated home with his dog. What was once a place of happiness was now nothing but ruins. Fortunately, he found a bracelet left by his beloved among the wreckage. But this peace wouldn't last long. Since John violated the Continental Hotel's injunction, John was now a target for all the assassins. For the sake of their friendship, Winston granted him an hour's head start. Shortly after, the assassin headquarters announced a new bounty on John's head, raising it to a staggering $10 million. Every assassin lurking in the shadows was preparing to make their move. And so, with his loyal dog by his side, John began a new, deadly journey on the run.